Heyo, hello everybody, and this is D Weekly, where you get your crypto with D Weekly. So go ahead and grab your coffee, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get ready for some crypto news. So we're gonna go through some different types of news. We got some regulatory news, we got global news, and we've got some tech advancements that you guys can get excited about coming up. I'll talk a little bit about price. I know you're not used to that from me, but there's been some notable price movements this week that we need to discuss in the top three cryptos. Well, at least top three by a public opinion, right? We'll talk a little bit about adoption and then we'll wrap it up. So don't forget, like the Bitcoin podcast, because we're going to be spitting hot fire from now moving forward. So first, in a bit of a regulation rewind, you remember that 2022 letter that basically told banks, hey, you got to call your mom before you can touch Bitcoin? Well, that's gone now, right? The banks don't have to call their mothers anymore. The banks don't have to. They're big. They can put on their big boy bank pants. Fed bended on April 24th, so a little while ago. That's the OCC and the FDIC and saying that U.S. banks can finally launch spot custody, staking, and even on-chain dollar tokens. Those would be stable coins. So you can expect that first tier one desk to the market by Labor Day. So what does that mean? That means probably by the end of this year, you're going to start to see your banking apps, Bank of America, Chase, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, the US banks. You open that app up and there's going to be a nice shiny button that says, hey, do you want to store your crypto here? Do you want to stake your crypto here? Right? Like that's opening up. So yay for adoption. Taking it across the pond, the UK just dropped a 77-page statutory instrument yanking crypto out of the gray area, right? No more, what are the rules, right? Exchanges, stablecoin issuers, even the market makers, you'll need an FCA badge, but also you'll get passporting to Europe once MiCA passports kick in. So a little bit less of the gray area, and you got to have an FCA badge to play by the rules in the UK. But speaking of MiCA, Google flicked the switch on April 23rd. And if your ad isn't MiCA compliant, it's a 404. They've said, hey, if this ad isn't MiCA compliant and it's about crypto, you can't run it. So it's not going to be able to annoy anybody else as they're trying to read crypto news and they see a bajillion ads about a crypto casino, right? At least make your crypto casino ad MiCA compliant. And lastly, in some regulatory news, finally, the SEC CorpFin dropped a chewy 19-page guidance on token disclosures. TLDR, you can treat your white paper like an S1 or hire better lawyers. So yeah, regulations are being there now, and the rules keep popping up, and you can play by the rules more likely and more time costs, but at least there are some rules being put into place right here. So I guess the takeaway from this is that the US, UK, and EU, European Union, just opened the same playbook that says that you disclose, you license, or you leave. We'll kind of see how that plays out in the long run. Let's move on to some global, right, that aren't really crypto related except for tangentially. So 5 Asian central banks just leveled up their payments protocols with something called Project Nexus, and they formed Nexus Global Payments. It's a nonprofit switch in Singapore that will knit Pay Now, Do It Now, Prompt Pay, and InstaPay into one API, right? So these are all payments services overseas. The remittances will be under 60 seconds and fees with under half of a dollar, right? So unfortunately, and the reason this is tangentially related to crypto is because everyone thought the remittances market was just going to be just an easy golden egg for all of crypto to take advantage of. Well, it seems to me like it's been so long that the big players have built their own blockchains and they've made it a reality, and none of that is actually going to be for the public blockchains are going to make any good on that. But hey, remittances in under 60 seconds. That's 1.7 billion people getting near instant cross border settlement. Okay. For context, that's been PayPal, Revolut, and Cash App combined, right? Somebody give them a chat app. Just give them a better chat app than they have. I don't know. Let's talk about some tech advancements, right? A little bit of tech advancements. I want everybody right now go into your iPhone or your Android or your Nokia, set an alarm for May 7th. Okay. 12 o'clock UTC, because what's happening? Ethereum's Spectra hard fork is going to happen on May 7th. Just give you a couple, three big rundowns you got here. The blob cap is going to be doubled, which is going to mean cheaper L2s. Yay. Everybody loves fracturization, more L2s. EIP, 7702. Any wallet can morph into a smart account for one transaction. We should dig into that on hashing it out. Wink, wink, wink. Okay. And now 2048 ETH per validator. Stakers rejoice. You don't just need 32 and then you start another validator with 32. Let's clean it up a little bit. One validator can now have a cap of 2048 ETH. So if you got deep ETH pockets, a big old ETH, now you can just have one validator and put all the ETH on there. So, in other news, on the Bitcoin side of things, enterprise adoption of the Lightning Network just kind of went parabolic. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna get hyperbolic, but it went parabolic. So I actually did get hyperbolic by saying parabolic, but we get it. Anyways, 15% of Coinbase's Bitcoin outs are now zapping over Litecoin rails thanks to Lightspark. So significant cost reduction in sending Bitcoin transactions. Wow. This tech is growing slow. I'm old and gray now. Anyways, in sidechain news, Blockstream, a fresh $220 million means liquidity green light, and their mining rigs are all scaling in 2025. So they got huge investment and they're scaling up their mining in 2025. So Bitcoin is slowly but surely eating the world, kind of, maybe. All right. So let's do what everyone loves to do and talk price, right? And that's what gets everybody going, right? So let's do a little price check. So Bitcoin crawled up from about 94.7K to 96.6K this week. It's up about 2%. Nothing to call your siblings and brag about, but and it does look a little tiny compared to last week's ETF driven 14%. Let's just say this. The price is creeping up after, it went down so much and we were all like, oh man, like here we go again. Now it's creeping up. Ethereum outperformed, went up about 4%. Ethereum is doing pretty poor in comparison to other crypto out there, but everybody's excited about Petra and we're hoping that this does some big things. Solana shadowed ETH. Here's the thing. Crypto is volatile. None of what I'm saying on this show is ever going to be advice for you. Okay. You need to do your own reading. You probably don't know how to do research. It's a very rigorous thing, but just read, right? And make smart decisions. Let's move on to adoption. Remember we had that show, Bitcoin Podcast, the show we just brought back. We used to say at the beginning of every show, adoption is the only thing that matters. Well, we're finding out that adoption is layered. And although it does matter, and probably still is the only thing that matters, there's layers to that adoption that maybe are starting to reveal themselves as time goes on. But 10 years in the game, crypto looks like it's being adopted quite well. But let's get into some actual bits of adoption news. Morgan Stanley is wiring crypto into E-Trade's 7 million accounts. Now, I myself am an E-Trade user. I trade on the E's, okay? I got stocks, I got things, I got an account. Maybe I'm doxing myself. Anyways, I do some e-trading, right? So the pilot of this is expected Q3. TradeFi's walls are getting into crypto. They want that sweet crypto gain. They want it, baby. Maybe that's why all the gains in crypto have been like 5% lately of the main cryptos. I know you guys out there that trade altcoins that also probably do 8 balls and all kinds of things are getting gains or whatever. But, good old Bitcoin, Ethereum, like Solana land, we're just like, well, not Solana. Anyways, let's get back into business. There's a luxury jeweler named MiCA. Now, if you don't know who this is, like me, it's probably because you don't buy luxury jewelry. Should you? Maybe, probably. But anyways, let's go back to it. Bitcoin is sold and 60 others in 20 boutiques worldwide. So if you got crypto burn a hole in your hard wallet, right? Just got to spend it, got to press that send, confirm, got to get that shit spent. You can go to MiCA now and buy a watch or something or buy a nice, what you should do? You should buy a bracelet for your lovely significant other, right? And have a good old time. Okay. And everybody's favorite guy that talks Bitcoin all the time. And, he's the newest wave of crypto evangelist at Strategy X MicroStrategy. They hoarded yet another 15,000 Bitcoin, crossing 553,000 Bitcoin, more than 2.6% of the circulating supply, and raised its 2025 profit target to $15 billion. So yeah, they're making a lot of dollars, and like that guy's just living it, right? So let's look a little bit ahead in some things. If you're watching the calendar, May 2nd, options expiry, the May 7th, Spectra Fork, May 12th, SEC roundtable on tokenization, which would be some big things. So it's gonna be May. So, and what could be a catalyst is the first US bank ETF custodian mandates are coming out soon. All eyes are on State Street and BNY Mellon. Some ETF stuff going on. I think spot ETFs. Anyways, that was a D Weekly. You just got your weekly crypto news with D. Hit subscribe. You can even hit the bell so that whenever we have new episodes of the Bitcoin podcast or other shows that will be airing through this channel, you're going to get notified and be like, ah, man, I want to hear what those guys are up to, right? Anyways, drop a comment. Hopefully, there's going to be a story that moves the market, and these things will be awesome. Thank you for tuning in to D Weekly. Looking forward to the next episode of the Bitcoin podcast, next episode of Hashing It Out. And please, if you're at a computer, join the Discord. All links to all Discords are below. If you're a tech savvy individual, you get to clickety clacking on your keyboard and you want to build some tech that's going to free the minds. You should go to logos.co. You should join the Logos Discord. Okay. If you want to just hang out with Corey, myself, Jesse, all the cool people that hang out with the Hashing It Out and the Bitcoin podcast over the years, you can join the Hashing It Out Discord link below. Okay. If you want to help Jesse on his journey to decentralized storage to the planet, link below for Codex. Okay. There's so many links, so much tech. Awesome. As always, shout out to Zoe Saldana. We love you, boo. Play the outro.